Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're taking a look at JLA Book 2. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we're taking a look at JLA Book 2. This is a new line of trade paperbacks of the JLA Grant Morrison Howard Porter run, and DC is including some more stuff that has not been previously collected, but it's changing the order around, right? So this is a follow-up to this book right here that you may have seen on stands, JLA Book 1, and this one was a great pickup because it has a ton of stuff that was not in the original trade paperbacks. Book 2, however, not as great. So let's get into it. What does Book 2 collect? Well, Book 2 collects portions of the older trade paperbacks 2 and 3. So this is number 2 and number 3. So this new one collects JLA 10 through 23, JLA Annual number 2, JLA Secret Files and Origins number 2, JLA World Without Grown-Ups 1 and 2, and New Year's Evil Prometheus number 1. So looking at these other trades that I do have, I picked these up secondhand from somebody online, and it was a great pickup because they were in great condition. Actually, I've never read these trade paperbacks. Like, I've read the JLA run itself, I believe in college, and I had 4 or 5 trade paperbacks coming from World War III on this run of JLA for years when I was in high school and college, but never actually read these trade paperbacks. So I do want to read this, the new books, and then switch to these as one big run and see how they compare eventually. But anyway, the only new thing I think in here seems to be JLA Annual number 2 and probably all of the Secret Files and Origins number 2. And World Without Grown-Ups is collected in here. I was thinking the World Without Grown-Ups was what was in the JSA compendium, but the JSA is the Sins of Youth crossover, the Young Justice Sins of Youth 1 and 2, which is different than World Without Grown-Ups. Sins of Youth, they trade places, like the old are young and the young are old, and World Without Grown-Ups is where the JLA disappears and the Young Justice team takes over, I believe. So this one has the Rock of Ages storyline, which to me is famous for being Kevin Smith's favorite JLA storyline. I believe he even did like a live reading of one of these comic books on his podcast. I can't remember which one. I want to say it was one of the later issues in here. But most of this book is written by Grant Morrison and Mark Waid, with a lot of art by Howard Porter, with assists from Gary Frank, Todd DeZago doing some writing in here, Mike McCone doing the Sins of World Without Grown-Ups storyline. So I don't think World Without Grown-Ups has been collected in a long, long time. I thought there was once a trade paperback that had World Without Grown-Ups and Sins of Youth in the same book. I could be totally wrong. But anyway, so I guess it is collecting stuff that's been long out of print, with these JLA trades have been long out of print, and these World Without Grown-Ups being long out of print. So if you're looking to have a reason to pick it up, I think that could be one. But I think at this point, if there's not enough here and they haven't told us what they're planning out for the mapping for the rest of these books, it's going to be hard to justify, you saying, I'm going to ditch all 9 volumes of my other JLA run to get this, unless it does have more stuff all the way through. I think the other thing that it could do also is reduce the number of volumes, like from 9 maybe down to 5, or not 6. Not 5, but probably like 6 or 7, just in the fact that how fat these books are. This is on a nice thick matte paper, and the older ones were on like your standard thin glossy paper. So I don't think it matters that much, honestly, what kind of paper it's on. I'm not one of those types of readers. It lays well. There's not a huge ton of glare on it. It does have a little bit of a satin sheen, so if you want to call this a satin paper, you can call it that. Here's Guy Gardner Warrior. On the JLA, you got Zoriel, Aquaman, all sorts of characters in here. Superman's doing his blue period. But anyway, you have the Rock of Ages storyline, and then you have the Prometheus storyline with the Prometheus special, and then him kind of attacking the JLA. And I think the Prometheus special, I don't remember reading it when I read this run initially, but I don't think I was reading these older trade paperbacks. It was some other version of it, which probably didn't collect it. But anyway, great Howard Porter art. This is my favorite Howard Porter stuff right here. I have read some of his Flash stuff with Jeff Johns, but I think this is the best stuff he's done. Although I do like his Trials of Shazam work where he went digital, and he's been doing stuff, a little more stuff like that since then. This is Mike McCone. This is in the Sins of Youth. There's 2 issues here he does. I think this is some great stuff. And then Humberto Ramos doing number 2. And then back to Mike McCone and Humberto Ramos. So I guess they're switching off inside that issue. That could be fun. And then after the Sins of Youth storyline, you have, I think, yeah, the key issues. There's Daniels, the Sandman, more Morrison and Porter, and then the Secret Files stuff and some other trade paperback collections, things like that. So, is it a great pickup compared to the other ones? I don't think it's as good, but like I talked about, at this point you should decide whether you're going to get these new trades or not. I'm probably going to read book 1 and book 2, and then I'll probably blitz through the other trade paperbacks and do reviews on those, and that way I can say I've read them. But I'll probably sell those or give them away, some sort of thing to do here on the channel, because I don't need both. And I think I'm going to collect these as they're coming out. I think they're going to collect a little bit more. There's got to be more stuff out there that they have not collected that crosses over. Maybe not a ton, but I feel like by the time we get to Infinite Crisis, maybe we'll have some more of that stuff collected in there. That would be an interesting JLA thing, because Infinite Crisis does deal with like the fallout of the JLA disbanding and things like that, so that could be cool. But that's, years down the line if they're only doing one of these a year. I think they did solicit book 3 in like the Penguin Random House thing for next year, so maybe they're doing one thing a year, at which case it'll take a couple of years to get through all these. So like I said, either find the older ones or decide to do these now, but it's going to take some years before we get to the end of this set of volumes. I don't really know why these aren't DC's Finest. I remember they came out with book 1 and right as they announced the DC's Finest line. So I'm guessing since they're doing these, we're not going to get the JLA book DC's Finest for a long, long time, if they're going to be included in that at all. Like the DC's Finest, the back of those goes through 2011 for the years, which would include everything up until the New 52 and Flashpoint. So I'm guessing it's going to be a Justice League of America, and then that will probably go up until JLA, and this will be the JLA line for the Grant Morrison stuff past that. But are they going to do a Justice League of America line with the Brad Meltzer stuff and Dwayne McDuffie and all that stuff that takes place after this? I don't know. That will be really interesting, because you're kind of making room for this book in your stores in this line as opposed to a DC's Finest. But it is as thick as a DC's Finest, honestly, with the amount of stuff in here. And it retails for $50, so it's about the same price as a DC's Finest. So, hell, who knows what they're doing, but they think they do. So that's my overview of JLA Book 2. Let me know down in the comments if you're going to pick this up or if you're going to keep your older trade paperbacks, or if you've never read JLA before and you're going to go pick this up. Let me know. I want to know what you guys think of it. So we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.